Hey everyone, glad to see y'all back for more. First off, I'm sorry for not uploading in basically what it amounts to about a month or two. First, it all started with a cold I got after Thanksgiving and got worse around Christmas, but truthfully, after that I got over that, I've just been procrastinating. I can't really even lie to y'all like that, but I'm here now and we're going to talk about today's subject, Suchomimus. Now, for me, Suchomimus goes way back because as a kid I was pen pals with the man who discovered this dinosaur, Paul Sereno. One of my favorite memories about this dinosaur was when I was in class and he showed up to my school and came to my class with information he had gathered on Suchomimus as well as the enormous claw from the first digit of his hand. That encounter only happened because my mom mixed up the days and sent me to school on the day he was supposed to come to my house. I even took a trip to Navy Pierce Children's Museum here in Chicago, where the skeleton of said Suchomimus is housed. This is why in the last video I said that Suchomimus competes with T-Rex for the spot of my favorite dinosaur, and I have to admit Suchomimus is starting to win off that memory alone. But guess what? I'm not the only one who favors this particular member of Spinosaur. I am joined today with none other than the Park Insider from the J-Park Squad. He specializes in unique park builds for not only Evolution 1 and 2, but for Planet Zoo as well. He even streamed and helped raise money during an event called Kangathon for the Kango Wildlife Ranch in South Africa. So, why don't you check out his YouTube, and if you like what you see, subscribe and follow him on Instagram to see his amazing builds and other things he's been up to.
Hi guys, I'm the Park Insider, and thank you so much Ghidorah for the introduction. Well, Suchomimus to me is one of my top 5 dinosaurs, especially the one that is made for the Jurassic Park and Jurassic World franchise. It reminds me of a large crocodilian species that is walking on the hind legs and just scouring the prehistoric world. It looks so amazing, and as a kid I liked alligators and gharials and crocodiles all over, so this is definitely one of my favorite dinosaurs for a long time. Let's get into it. Suchomimus is a genus of Spinosaur dinosaurs that lived during the early Cretaceous period during the Apian and Albanian stages of the Cretaceous, which lasted from 125 to 112 million years ago. Suchomimus gets its generic name from the shape of its skull, resembling that of a crocodile. Its specific name, Tenerensis, comes from where it was found, the Tenere Desert in Niger, Africa. So its name officially means crocodile mimic from Tenere. Suchomimus is a rather large animal with lengths of 9.5 to 11 meters or 31 to 36 feet in length and weighed between 2.5 to 5.2 tons. However, it's believed that Suchomimus could actually grow larger than this, as a holotype specimen discovered by Paul Sereno is still considered to be not fully grown by most.
Suchomimus was an impressively built dinosaur with its skull containing a whopping 122 conical teeth, which would help it in catching the fish it would ever so casually dine on. The skull sat on a short neck and it had powerfully built forelimbs. Its claws were curved and sharp, containing one large claw on each hand, which would be good for grasping its prey and keeping it locked in its jaws. A low sail ran down the back of Suchomimus, built from the neural spines of its vertebrae. Interestingly enough, Suchomimus finds itself in a similar situation as Triceratops and Torosaurus, where some scientists believe that it is a larger African version of Baryonyx. Baryonyx is only slightly smaller, having a length of 7 to 10 meters, but it seems to lack the elongated neural spines that is seen in Suchomimus. The fenestrae in their skulls are even differently shaped. The antorbital fenestra of Suchomimus is horizontal compared to the more vertical slant of Baryonyx. Now, I can understand that if Suchomimus was a much larger variant, like some scientists claim, then the change in antorbitals would make sense, being a change in the evolutionary path. However, with both specimens being just shy of each other in size, I don't think such a change in skull openings is plausible, at least in my opinion. Suchomimus is also thought to be a junior synonym of the Spinosaurid Cristatosaurus, but said dinosaur is only known from fragmentary remains. To briefly touch upon this, dinosaurs go through a series of names before one is settled on, so much so that they can be referred to as species rank names. Names that are recorded first get the title of senior synonyms, and names that come later get the title of junior synonyms. It gets a bit further complicated than that, but the process of binomial nomenclature can be discussed at a later date because we have a dinosaur to discuss.
In 1997, Paul Sereno and his team were at the Erlhas Formation, a geological formation of Central Africa's country of Niger, where other specimens like Nigersaurus and Sacrosuchus, also discovered by Paul Sereno, were discovered. It's here where they unearthed a fossil of a large theropod containing about 2/3 of the skeleton. The bones of the initial holotype specimen was missing the skull, but had a few neck bones, backbones, gastralia or belly rubs, partial forelimbs, partial hind limbs, and pelvis. Later additions, such as skull fragments, would come from more fossils that will be eventually discovered.
As stated before, the skull of Suchomimus was very crocodilian in appearance, hence the name crocodile mimic. The snout was long, low, and narrow, formed by the premaxillae and the high branch of its maxillae. The jaws, as stated before, had over 120 teeth, all conical in shape. They were curved slightly backwards, and they weren't very sharp. Interesting thing here to note is that the teeth were serrated and had wrinkled enamel. Suchomimus possessed strong neck muscles, which was noted by its epipophyses. Epipophyses are where the neck muscles would have attached and can be found in archosauromorphs, especially dinosaurs and basal birds. In simpler terms, they were better known as the processes. Mentioned before is that Suchomimus possessed a sail along its back. While not as distinct as Spinosaurus, it is noticeable enough. The neurospines of its vertebrae were blade-shaped, and out of the 16 dorsal vertebrae that made up his raised spine, the 5 sacral vertebrae, the neurospines around his hips were the longest. These vertebrae stopped near the middle of his tail.
The humerus or upper arm bone was robust and very strongly built, making it comparable in size to non-Spinosaurus theropods such as Megalosaurus. This made it possible to hold onto a larger prey when hunting and using its large hooked-shaped claws, whether that be large prehistoric fish or potential juvenile specimens of dinosaurs like Ouranosaurus. Being a part of the Spinosauridae family line meant that it carried some key traits. A crest on its skull just before its eyes, a notch in the upper jaw specialized for holding the slippery Mesozoic fish of the Cretaceous, a large claw on the first finger of each hand, tall neural spines, or in Suchomimus' case, taller than average neural spines running down its back, skulls that are along with crocodilian-like features, conical teeth with fine to no serrations, and the terminal rosette of their snouts. Suchomimus is part of the Baryonychinae, a subfamily with the group of Spinosauridae. This means it's more closely related to the Baryonyx than it is to the Spinosaurus. A lot of similarities can be drawn between the two, so much so that some paleontologists believe that Suchomimus is just a larger Baryonyx.
It should be noted that the Spinosauridae family is a more relatively new group of dinosaur, and given the poor nature of their fossil remains, it may be some time until they are understood as well as some of the other theropods. It is believed that the Spinosaurus were quite widespread through the Cretaceous between its Permian and Cenomanian stages, so about 130 to 95 or so million years ago. In fact, the oldest known Spinosaur is believed to come from the Jurassic era, from a tooth of a dinosaur called Ostafrikasaurus, but that's a subject for a later date. Did you guys know that it's a popular opinion that scientists believe the Baryonychinae family gave rise to the Spinosaurinae family? Since all the Baryonychinae existed early on in the Cretaceous and the Spinosaurinae came in the later stages, it's not a hard opinion to get behind either. Looking at Baryonyx, Suchomimus, and Spinosaurus from smallest to largest, you see the gradual growth in what appears to be transitional evolution. Transitional evolution in the fossil record is fossilized evidence from the remains of an organism that exhibits an intermediate state between an ancestral trait and its later descendants. So in the case of Suchomimus being considered a larger Baryonyx as well as the neurospines of Baryonyx, Suchomimus and Spinosaurus only increasing in length from species to species could be regarded as a transitional feature, but that's only our opinion, and there may be evidence going against this. Who knows, maybe one day paleontologists may get to dig up dirt on Australopithecus that can not only help us better understand the Spinosaurus, but either confirm or deny this theory altogether.
When you look at the claws and arms of Suchomimus, what do you think their purpose was? Paleontologists are still in debate about this as well. They believe that one of its uses was for fishing. It is believed Suchomimus could have used its claws, particularly the giant claw on its first digit, similar to how grizzly bears fish for their food today. British biologist Andrew Kitchener proposed it would use its claws for scavenging. But this hypothesis was critiqued and found that it didn't hold much weight, since most carcasses would be emptied out by its initial predators. Other suggestions include, but weren't limited to, digging for water sources, constructed nests, and holding large prey items, which, being stated earlier, would come in handy when dealing with young or sick animals like Tyrannosaurus.
The environment Suchomimus lived in could only be described as an extensive freshwater floodplains that had fast-moving rivers, a tropical climate that probably had its fair share of seasonal dry periods. The environment was home to many fauna like Tyrannosaurus and Nigersaurus, as well as other carnivores like Eocarcharia and Cryptops. Pterosaurs and crocodiliomorphs like Sarcosuchus inhabited the Arrowheads Formation as well. Based off the diets of these hoverboards that lived there, it is believed that the Arrowheads Formation was populated with ferns, horsetails, and angiosperms, creating a visual appearance not too far from today's tropical settings.
Suffice it to say, Suchomimus is indeed an intriguing specimen in the fossil record. Suchomimus is thankfully gaining in popularity as the years go on, starring in several Jurassic games like Warpath and Jurassic World Evolution, and also TV shows like Dinosaur King. Given time, Suchomimus will yield more new and interesting things about itself, but its family branch in the near future.
Thanks once again to the Park Insider for taking the time out of his day to help me talk about this amazing creature. Be sure to check him out and don't forget to sub. As always, there will be a link to his channel and the Discord as well. Now, about our next topic. A few weeks ago I did a series of polls asking what you guys want to see for the next episode. Rather it be herbivore, carnivore, flyer, or aquatic, and you guys shook it up by choosing aquatic. So, I've decided that every other episode or so, I'll let you guys decide. That way, things will get a little bit more interesting. So, as decided by you all, the next episode will be discussing the Paleozoic predator of the seas, Dunkleosteus.